doing?
Hi.
Hey,
You're
it's
good.
so awesome to see your faces. You guys look beautiful. I just want to share with the audience right now, you know, we are quarantined and in our homes, but we're still able to connect. We were going to be doing our Valiant Sisterhood Chasing Vine study starting this Thursday after Easter, and obviously everything has kind of been put on a hold. And so we thought, hey, let's come up with a way where we can connect with these women and kind of bring some joy and life into their home and right where they're at. And so, I mean, I know what this is doing for me right now, seeing your awesome faces, like it's just life-giving. And so I hope that this portrays in their homes as well. I know it's going to. So what we are going to be doing instead is going to be picking a topic, and we're going to be having the women ask questions to us and to you. So those topics are ranging from prayer to anxiety, health, health and wellness, whether it be friendships or different seasons in life. We're just kind of organically talk and let these women ask questions to you guys. So I know this season right now has kind of gotten us all into different feelings, whether, one moment I'm like on top of the world and laughing, and then other times I'm, depressed and just feel like a brick is on my chest. And so I know what it means right now to see your faces. It's comforting, and, you guys are breathing life into me right now. And so I want that's what this whole goal is of these little discussions. Okay, so we're going to do like a sneak peek right now of kind of what this is going to be like in the future. Okay, so there is strength in the sisterhood, right? We know friendship is so important, and what I admire most about you guys is just how you guys fear the Lord. Like, you have such a fear, and fear in the Bible is respect, right? It's a good thing when we say that we want to fear the Lord. And I see how you guys walk your lives out with just surrendered. And in Proverbs 31 it says, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is greatly to be praised. I want this to be a time where we can get godly input and godly advice from lots of godly women. So that's why I've asked you guys to come on board, and I'm going to introduce you guys real quick, if that's cool. We're just going to go around. Let's start with you, Sherry, and tell us your name and where you're from and what ministry you do at Valiant Church.
I'm Sherry Dane Ryan, and Rem and I run the online pastoring. We do all the behind the scenes on that, and then I help with a lot of the ladies group, Valiant Sisterhood. And we actually live in Houston, so we're in the Heights area.
Yes, you guys make the hike down.
We travel. Yes.
Awesome. All right. Holly, you want to go next?
Yep. Hi, I'm Holly Hubbard. I am part of the leadership team at Valiant, and I run a mom's small group. Hi, mamas. I just have a heart for moms and how we parent and parenting in a godly way, and asking him to guide us along the path of motherhood, and do a few other women's ministry events at Valiant.
That's awesome. All right.
I guess that's me.
Hey.
Hey. Hi, Selena. Me and my husband are the worship leaders at Valiant, and we love it. We have a blast doing it. We also are a part of the young adult small group, which we love. What's up to my young adults? And I'm also a wonderful, wonderful participant in the Mamas small group that Holly does as well. Hi, Mamas. I miss y'all so much. And we just love being involved. We're the anything team at Valiant. Anything that anybody needs, we want to be a part of it. So we love being here, and I love being part of this too.
Yes. Awesome. I know, like, whenever you guys talk about your groups and small groups, it's community is the heartbeat of Valiant Church, and it's all about small groups and connecting and feeling seen. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Emily Shuttlesworth, and I am the pastor of Valiant Church. So those of you who don't know me, we're glad that you're tuning in, and we hope that you feel strength within these 4 women right here. You know, we hope that you feel equipped and just know you're made for more, right? So what I love about the name Valiant is that it means bold and strong and courageous, and that is what we're supposed to be doing, right? Is being bold in our faith and bold in our parenting skills, and bold in our friendships, and all across the board. Is God wants us to be courageous, right? And I want to ask you guys a question. What is the most courageous thing that you have ever done? It can be funny or it can be serious. You guys have anything where you've been super courageous?
I'll go first. Probably the most courageous thing for me would be stepping on a stage. Just God had called me into getting on that stage many, many, many times for many years. And I came from a preacher's home, so that probably made it worse. You would think it'd make it easier, but it almost made it harder. There was like comparison things and, concern of would I do it right and how I was taught, and just all of the fears that go along with just being on stage anyway. And so that was probably like answering the call to that was a huge thing for me, and something that I just really wish he had never called me to, actually. But I mean, I enjoy it now, and I'm learning how to embrace that. But that's probably for me been like a stepping out there and just going, okay, God, like you control, what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, the message, how it comes across to people. So for me, that's what that was.
It's good.
And is that still a struggle for you today, Sherry? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
As comfortable as people tell me I look, I'm always shocked at that, because I'm like in my boots the whole time I'm up there. Yeah. Like, why am I here? So yes.
It's funny. I know it's crazy that we don't see that in our own selves. I'm the same way. God has to like push me off the ledge every time I am gripped with fear. But it's we know we're supposed to do it, right? I mean, you can't ignore that.
Right.
But I feel you 100%, girl.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who else? What's your courageous thing you've ever done?
Mine is being with my husband. In the beginning, we've told our testimony a few times, but in the beginning, I've saved. I was totally sold out for the Lord, and I was serving God, and I re-met Daniel, and he was not serving God and was saying that he did not want to be in church any longer, and the Lord kept pressing me toward him, and I knew it was the Lord because it didn't make sense that I liked this person who was into all these things that I was not into. Right. And it took a lot of courage, I think, because courage meaning, undeterred by danger or pain, and I was really, really worried about being hurt, about, him being stuck in his ways, or wanting to go back from that life. But I just gave him to God instead of trying to fix him myself. And I know a lot of people, go through that with their significant others or their spouses. Even now, people have reached out that they're struggling with these things, and you just have to give them to God, because we, the world tells us that we can fix our person or whatever, but courage, it takes true courage to just give it to God.
Yeah,
and to be undeterred by that pain, or anything like that. So, and I did, and I'm a testimony. Our relationship and our family is a testimony to that. So I think that was the biggest, most courageous thing I did, was give it to God.
It's scary, right? Because it's out of your control. And so it can go backwards, because everybody has a free will. Whereas, there's stories within us right here where it didn't work out like that, and you still trusted God through that, right, Holly? I mean, you trust God, even though it wasn't your fairy tale ending, but God restored you. And I'm sure you're going to get into that in weeks to come too, and those that know you, so I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, I think, there's a cheesy country song that says the bravest thing I ever did was leave. And that you don't like the country music. You don't know what I'm talking about.
No.
That is, I think that, like, for me, I talk about with Levi and all the time. She's like, I'm scared. I don't want to do that. Like, being brave isn't the lack of being scared. It's moving forward even though you are scared. And
right.
Yeah.
And through forming a relationship with God, learning to trust him in a way that praying open-ended prayers. God, change me into the person you want me to be. Mm-hmm. God, align my desires with your desires, and giving that over to him. I think we all have this control. We like to control our world around us, and completely giving up it's a false sense of control, but completely giving up that false sense of control, and truly just from my heart, God, I don't even know anymore. You take over. It's got to be you. And that was, I learned along the way that if you ask him in sincerity, he's gonna answer you.
Yep.
And that, it was a scary moment for me, but it was just, I released all of this to you. I'm
good.
If I don't feel like it's a step you're giving me, I'm not taking it from here forward. And it's led me down some crazy paths.
Freeing.
Yeah, but I think that's, that's definitely the most courageous thing I've ever done, is giving it over to him.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm going to tell you something just kind of fun. A couple years ago, when we moved into our house, the most courageous thing that I've done, so one, I am like deathly afraid of like anything that's in the water. And so we have a dark, murky now. And my neighbor says, don't worry, Emily, I've lived here for 8 years. Nothing will ever touch you. And so I finally got over that, and I trusted her, and I believe her. And yes, nothing has ever touched her. But, Gavin had dared me to jump off the top of the deck, and it's down there. And I was so nervous, but I was brave, and I jumped into the canal from the top, and I jumped into that nastiness of who knows what's down in there. So that's the most courageous thing I've ever done, as far as not spiritually speaking, but right, it's brave. Yeah. Some of you that are with me that are scared of that ocean too, right? I know, it's ridiculous. Okay, so thanks for talking about that, you guys. That's great insight, man. I appreciate you guys being cool. So our first topic we're going to be discussing is friendship. And so whenever we go off of this, we're going to be asking you guys, our audience, to submit your questions that you have about friendship. And so it can be maybe advice that you're needing. Maybe a friendship is struggling right now and you don't know how to navigate through that. Or maybe you want to repair a friendship and you don't know how, you feel like it's unrepairable. We want to help kind of shed some light and talk from our own experience and give you some godly insight. Or maybe it's, how to have friendship with God. Maybe you feel disconnected from God, and, I think God created friendship. He created intimacy, and he wants to be a friend with us. But when that finally connected with me, my relationship with God grew so much. He wants to know every detail about our lives, whether it's crying or laughing or, praying for a parking spot at Walmart close by. He cares about every detail, right? And he calls us friend. In John 15, it says, no greater love than one to lay down his life for us. And he says, you are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does the master's business. I called you friends. For everything that I've learned from my Father, I have made known to you. And I think that that's so cool. God wants us to know everything about him. He wants to share and be open with us. And whenever we are in the Word of God, it's endless, right? It's endless. We can seek that after it. to be found by him, and it's endless, the kind of information that he wants to give us. So I'm going to ask you guys and get the ball rolling a little bit on a couple friendship questions. And I guess the first one is going to be, what makes a good friend to you?
I know.
Go first. Look at that face. You go first, girl.
What makes a good friend to me? I have like a few things, but a big one for me is low maintenance.
Yes.
That's like such what, like low maintenance, but available, you know?
Yeah.
Because like you don't want somebody so low maintenance that like won't show up for you, right?
Yeah.
And then of course loyal even when it's difficult, and honest even when it hurts, and encouraging in all of your positive goals. That's what makes a good friend to me. Those are just some attributes of my very good friends that I love. That's what makes them good friends to me, and that's what I want to be to my friends as well.
So good. I love that. All right, Holly, how about you?
I feel like I say this before, like I clearly don't know how to pick a husband, but I know how to pick a friend. Like I've got some really, really amazing friendships in my life that I've had for years, since I was little. One of my friends in college, I always say that she's the one that taught me how to be a friend, and she taught me that friends are honest, you know, to your point, that I don't need yes people to be in my inner circle. I want people that are going to speak the truth to me, and you know, if we're going to live raw and honest lives, you're going to see the worst of me, and I need the truth spoken into me, and not just for the good times, but you know, for the bad times too. And I'd rather have a real friend than a surface level friendship where it's not, you know, where it's just a high level, things are great, okay. And one of the things for me, like throughout the years, anxiety kind of like messes with my head. And I've had friends that know that when I go quiet, that usually means that like, I'm normally not, you know, I'm a vocal person. And friends throughout the years that have known, hey, she's getting kind of quiet, something's up, and reach out. I've appreciated those friends a lot. And it's not, you know, it's not always time to talk about things. I don't necessarily always need to dig into what's going on. You know, throughout the divorce, I had friends that just would send me a random text. You know, one set of friends just sent me out of the blue a package of like bath salts and a beautiful necklace, and they were thinking, you know, they couldn't fix anything for me. You know, we walk through seasons where your friends can't fix it, but to know that you're loved and cared for, it just that means a lot.
Totally.
I love that. Yeah. And just like being able to listen and listen and listen, even, you know, you only kind of tell your deepest, darkest secrets to a few people, you know, but for them to be that sounding board, even though you maybe have said that a million times, but you need to say it again, you don't go crazy. It just, you know, you feel like a drag, or you know, you feel like it's a negative thing, but that's what friendship is. We should be for the good times and the bad times. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I think it's good too, like everything everyone said, of course, but also just friends that you could sit in silence with, that can just, you know, you don't have to have a conversation, you just feel each other, and you know, just people that you can be yourself and be real, have fun and laugh with, but also, you know, in the times of life where you're just going through stuff, nothing really has to be said. Like you said, we can't fix it. And sometimes, you know, scraping for words is hard, and we're trying to, you know, say something. And so I have some really good friends that when I was going through some stuff, it was just that they were there. We just sat. You know, a lot of times even in church, and I could be bawling my eyes out and they just right there next to me. And that meant a lot, you know, that I didn't have to, you know, they didn't have to reach over and touch me or hug me or nothing.
Because if they did, you were going to be crying even more.
That was it. You know?
Don't touch me.
That's right. So they knew, and they stayed in their spot, and it was great. And it was just, those are true friends, you know.
Yeah.
Read that body language and sit in silence with.
Yeah. So good. So good, you guys. All right, I got one more question for you. Do you have any key relationships in your life right now that you need healing or forgiveness in? And I mean, obviously we're not going to mention names or anything, but can you just speak to me? Because, you know, relationships and life and friendships are messy, right? I mean, it's through thick and thin. And to hear from some of you guys just the struggle that you're maybe walking through right now, if you want to share freely with us so that we can feel normal, you know, that we're not alone.
Right.
You guys you want to speak to that at all?
I will.
I'll go first.
I think that if you have a real friendship, your feelings are going to get hurt eventually. It's not, you know, if you think about who are the closest people in your life, it's going to be, you know, your parents, your siblings, your spouse, and you've had fights with all of them, right? It's when you care, there's going to be conflict eventually.
Yeah.
And how that conflict is handled is what determines if that friendship's going to be built on solid ground,
right,
or if that's one of the friendships that becomes surface level, and from that point forward you're just hanging out buddies, or hey, how you doing, friends, you know.
Right.
The people that can have the conflict and rise above that are people that it's going to be a real friendship. You know, I don't like to be in conflict with people. I don't like that at all. So I try to avoid it at all costs. But I value the friendships in my life that have endured the conflict, and it's real at that point. From that point forward, man, you don't even have to put on a pretense once you've gone there. You know, it's
yeah, and
it's work. You got to put in the effort and prayer.
Yes.
Lots of prayer.
Yes, exactly. Anybody else want to add to that?
I think that I think life sometimes can throw things that you're trucking along with friends, and maybe your path goes one way and theirs goes another way. And that rejection sometimes can be kind of life altering in a way that you're not, it prohibits you from wanting to make more friends because of hurt or things like that. And I think that's really where forgiveness comes in. A lot of, you know, even though maybe you're not talking to them as much as you used to, or having the relationship that you used to have with them, there's still for yourself a healing that has to take place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that life can throw things sometimes that, for whatever reason, either you disagree on something, or maybe God's moving you in a different way. And I think that sometimes in those situations, number one, forgiveness is so important. And I also think boundaries, you know, setting up some boundaries sometimes with some friends. I've always felt like if I have a friend that's constantly hurting me, I don't have some boundaries set up properly.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I need to do that. There's something going on there. Either I'm wanting more out of the relationship, or they're wanting more out of the relationship than either one of us are able to give.
Yeah.
And so boundaries are really important in a friendship, and I don't think we think about that when we enter into friendship. I think we just become friends, right? And then all of a sudden we're in it and we're like, what's going on here? Like, this is weird. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that we don't ever really want to talk about it, because you're like, well, are they really a friend if they have to set up boundaries with them? Mm-hmm. You know, you start to question that.
Right.
So, but I do think that there are friendships that require boundaries.
Absolutely.
You know, for yourself and even for them, that and it can be seasonal, you know, things that you do for a season, or maybe it's the whole, you know, duration of that friendship. But I do know in life there's been several times where there's been a little fork in the road where it's like, you know, how are we going to go? We're not really going together.
Yeah.
And how do you handle that? And how do you come out healthy, I guess, is what
Right.
so that you don't carry that with you.
Yeah.
So good, Sherry. So
Yeah. Yeah, when I was younger, I mean, my grandmother used to tell me all the time that just like situations in our life are seasonal, sometimes friends can be as well.
Sure.
God will bring someone into your life for a certain season to show you something, to teach you something, to build something, or to expose something in you. And that shows, yo, how many friends have I had that have exposed me though? But truly, and I've learned from that ever since I was younger. As a younger person, and as younger people, if you watch this video, just know, listen to those who have gone before you, the wisdom that comes out of these people. These 3 women on this panel with me, I just can listen to them all day long, because the wisdom that pours out of them has helped me so much just in my life now, and the success of my life is partially to the things that I've learned from them as well. And so just to be able to listen to those things, and in any situation, but in friendship, for sure.
Yes, so good, you guys. This has been awesome. Thank you for your advice, your wisdom, your white teeth, everybody.
Thank you, Zoom, for white teeth.
No. But so now we're gonna leave it up to the audience to ask questions. And so you guys can email us if you want to be remain anonymous at sisterhood@valiantchurch.com, and submit your questions until until April 21st, which is Tuesday. Okay, so you're gonna have through the weekend and kind of be milling around in your head and mind of what question you want to ask us, and then we're going to throw it out on Thursday, April 23rd, the questions and answers from, you're going to see our faces again, guys. We love you guys so much. We know that despite us social distancing, we're going to be together again, having coffee and hugging one another, being back at the church. I cannot wait to do the Sisterhood Chasing Vines study with Natalie leading us in worship, us going through the workbooks together, right? Like crying with one another, having our hands on each other's shoulder and touching one another, right? We're meant to do life together, not in these 4 boxes. Right. So it's going to happen again, but we just want to stay connected with you guys, and this is awesome. Thank you so much for being available, y'all.
Yeah. I'm excited for your questions.
Yes. Bring them on.
Bring them on.
Bring them on. All right, anything else from you guys before we sign off?
We love you.
We love y'all. We miss everyone.
All right, guys. We'll see you later, and have an awesome evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.